everyone! Today, magpapakita tayo ng mga halimbawa ng contents ng isang novel review. So, I will be sharing the sample output that I had submitted when I was having my Doctor of Philosophy in English. So, hindi naman siya naiiba sa mga katulad na analysis ng mga novels dahil it follows the same pattern as what we have discussed the elements of literature. So this is a concrete example which you can also adopt when you do your review. This is under English 451, Contemporary British and American Literature. This was written by Cormac McCluskey, entitled The Road. So at first, nagbigay ako ng mga introductory statement why I have chosen Cormac McCarthy and why I have chosen The Road as part of the analysis procedure of the literature. So, ang una muna kasing step ay pumili ng material na i-review at alamin why it is worthy to be reviewed. So, ito na nga po ay contemporary British and American literature dahil it was written 2000 and beyond. So, bago pa lamang po siya, unlike the classic literature that we always know. Kasi ang subject namin before is the contemporary British and American literature. That's why the first step I had is to look for the book. I ordered the book by Shopee, so it is pre-love. That's why okay naman siya, even though it's pre-love. What matters most is the content of the book. Okay, so let me highlight the contents of the analysis. Medyo palakihin lang natin yung screen. The author I have chosen is Cormac McCarthy. I got his name from the complete list of Pulitzer Prize awardees from 2000 and beyond. Kasi ang sabi ng professor namin, the author should be awarded. I browsed his whatabouts to know his genre and caught my attention to one of his works, The Road. I immediately ordered this book from an online book sale at a reasonable price. I read pages after office work as me time. It was my first time to read a McCarthy's book, and I enjoyed every page of it since I am fond of science fiction, post-disaster, and survival stories. I will present his work in a manner like how we presented our featured authors and novels in Reporting with Did in English 451, Contemporary British and American Literature. So here, ang naging atake ko dito sa pagre-review ng novel na ito ay on a first-person point of view, as if I am just telling my personal experience on how I encountered the book. Okay, so let's have first the description of the author. The first part is your personal introduction, why you have chosen the book and how you acquired the book. Now, tell something about the author. So I will be reading para makita ninyo yung how I devise the wordings. The author, Cormac McCarthy, pen name of Charles McCarthy Jr., is an American writer in the Southern Gothic tradition whose novels about wayward characters in rural American South and Southwest are known for their dark brutality, dense writing, and stylistic sophistication. He was born on July 20, 1933 in Providence, Rhode Island. So as you can see, I had given personal information about the author. So yun, it was a matter of research din. Makikita nyo naman siya sa Google, but then you try to get the gist of every author's life. McCarthy is a playwright and author from the United States. He has published 10 books and plays and screenplays in Southern Gothic, Western, and post-apocalyptic genres. He won the Pulitzer Prize for The Road in 2007. In his 2005 novel, No Country for Old Men was adapted into a film of the same name in 2007. So, ibig sabihin pala, this novel was made into film, which won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. His earlier novel, Blood Meridian, in 1985, was named to Time magazine's list of 100 best English language books published between 1925 and 2005, and he came in second place for a similar title in a survey of the best American fiction published in the last 25 years conducted by the New York Times in 2006. So ito, kailangan mapakita ninyo why the author is worthy to be reviewed. So ipakita niyo may mga accomplishments ba, what made him be inspired to write such material, and other information about the author. So along with Thomas Pynchon, Don DeLillo, and Philip Roth, he was called one of the 4 great American novelists in his period by literary critic Harold Bloom. Sino si Harold Bloom? Modern critics sometimes equate him to William Faulkner. So imagine, siya pala ang contemporary genius ni William Faulkner, one of the classic authors we have. Cormac McCarthy received the Penn Salbel Award for Lifetime Achievement from the Penn American Center in 2009. So bago pa po talaga itong novel na ito. Ngayon naman, ipapakilala natin ang novel itself. Bakit itong The Road sa kinadami-daming novel ang meron tayo or meron si Cormac McCarthy? Okay, so I will just read the gist. This novel is interesting, of course, so you can make your personal analysis, and I have read other novels with the same theme, but The Road is not just a journey of survival, but also a journey of a father's love to his son. So ikikita niyo na agad kung bakit kakaiba ito sa ibang mga novel. The book chronicles a father's epic trek through a world blasted by an unspecified catalysm that was devastated the modern society in almost all of the for several months. Ipakilala kung ano yung mga awards, kung meron man. The novel is award-winning and best-selling. So talagang kailangan ibenta ninyo. Why should this novel be worthy of review? Cormac McCarthy's post-apocalyptic novel The Road was published in 2006. In 2007, the novel won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. In 2006, the James Tate Black Memorial Prize for Fiction, and in 2009, John Hillcoat directed a film based on the book of the same title. So, naging movie po siya. And then, yung kasunod na information that you should supply is the inspiration of the author. Di ba, napakilala nyo na yung author, napakilala nyo na rin yung novel, or something why the author became inspired. As I browsed the net, I happened to watch an Oprah Winfrey segment interviewing McCarthy. So imagine, ginawa ko pala yan. Nag-search talaga ako ng information. He said that he got the idea for the book while visiting El Paso. So talagang may inspiration siya. Texas with his young son in 2003. May bahagi ng novel na nagre-reflect sa personality niya. Just like any other authors as well, di ba? He imagined fires on the hill and thought of his son as he imagined what the country would look like 50 to 100 years from now. He jotted down some ideas but did not revisit them until a few years later while in Ireland. He also highlighted in the interview that he had written The Road for 6 weeks, imagine. The novel then came to him easily and he dedicated it to his son, John Francis McCarthy. So, the author's inspiration is the son. So, kapag gagawa naman na kayo ng inyong movie or book review, you find the connection. Ano naman kaya ang naka-inspire sa author para sulatin yung nire-review ninyo na material. Like the previous authors, I documented in this subject contemporary British and American literature. I can say that this author was influenced by the things and events he saw in his environment. He got inspiration from the experiences, and I can also say that the main character in this novel is himself and the boy as his son. So, di ba, may reflection yung author ng kanyang sarili doon sa mga ginagawa niyang material. And let's continue. Since some of the conversations between the father and the son in the novel were based on conversations between McCarthy and his son, John Francis in real life, McCarthy insisted that John Francis was also a co-author. Imagine, McCarthy also dedicated the story to his son, perhaps as an expression as well as depiction of parental affection, though he did not say so in the interview. So talagang ikinukonsider niya yung anak niya na co-author kasi yun yung naging inspiration niya para makapagsulat. And now, kung naipakilala niyo na yung author, yung novel, at paano nagkaroon ng inspiration yung author to write the novel, you can also present already the summary. So, ito naman yung sample natin ng summary na novel. So, hindi ko lang napakita yung novel. Medyo may kakakapalan yung pages and even the cover. So, ito na nga po. Let's have the summary. A father and his son, medyo paliitin natin yung font. A father and his son traveled on foot across the post-apocalyptic covered America some years after the catastrophic event. The boy's mother and the man's wife, pregnant with him at the time of the disaster, committed suicide sometime before. So, pinakita dito na nagkaroon muna ng backgrounder, what happened to the mother, tapos post-apocalyptic yung event. So, survival talaga yung tema. Recognizing that they will not be able to endure the winter in more northern latitudes, the boy's father drives him south along interstate highways towards the sea, bringing their small belongings in knapsacks and grocery cart. A cop is bothering the father. They are good guys who are carrying the flames, he tells his son. The duo has a revolver, but it has 2 cartridges in it. To stop falling into the hands of cannibals, imagine may mga cannibal pala doon kasi it's a post-catastrophic, post-apocalyptic scenario. So, the tendency, if you look for surviving, then you must face the cannibals or you can turn to be cannibals. Yung kumakain ng mga buhay or mga tao. Diba? The boy's father had tried to teach him how to use the gun and himself, if possible. They tried to elude a band of marauders who are passing by on the road, but one of the marauders spots them and kidnaps the child. They escape the marauders' companions, leaving most of their belongings after the father shoots him dead. They later find a lock cellar containing captives that cannibals had been eating limb by limb as they search a house for supplies and escape into the woods. Imagine the difficulty they encountered as they try to escape. As they approach starvation, the duo discovers a hidden bunker stuck with food, clothing, and other necessities. So yun naman pala, good thing naman yung nangyari. They found a bunker placed. They rest for several days, regaining their powers before continuing their supplies in a cart. When they come across an older man, the boy insists on sharing food with him. They elude a party that includes a pregnant woman farther down the road, and soon after, they came across an abandoned campsite with a newborn child roasted on a spit. Imagine, they quickly ran out of provisions and began to starve until they came across a house with more food to load into their cart. But the man's condition deteriorates. So, may mga nakilala pala silang additional characters in the story. The two arrive at the sea, where they come across a stranded boat. The man swims over to it and retrieves materials, including a flare gun, which he shows the boy. The youngster becomes ill. Their cart is robbed as they stop on the beach while the boy recovers. They pursue and confront the robber, a despicable lone traveler, another character being met. At gunpoint, his father makes him strip naked and tosses his belongings into the cart. This upsets the boy, so his father returns and throws the man's clothes and shoes on the side of the road, but the man has vanished. A man in a window shoots the father in the leg with an arrow while walking through the inland town. The father retaliates by firing a flare gun in his attacker. The two walk along the beach to the south. The father's health deteriorates, and he learns that he will die shortly after a few days. The father tells his son that he can speak to him in prayer after he has left, but he must move out or on without him. So that's the condition of the father because the father is getting weaker na. A man with a shotgun approaches the boy accompanied by his wife and their two children, a son and a daughter. The man persuades the boy that he is one of the good guys and offers him protection. So at the end of this story of the novel, only the boy survived because the father who decide to just die and not be a burden to the travel. So, binigay na niya yung anak niya doon sa family na nakita nila. Okay. So, tapos na. Supposedly, napakita niyo na yung summary ng pagkahaba-habang novel. Ngayon, hihimayin niyo na po siya sa kanyang significance. So, pinakita ko dito sa part na ito yung heading ng Literary Significance Awards and Nominations. So, personalized pa rin siya para talagang knowing that you're the one who have written the analysis. Kasi mas plus factor sa mga professor if it's personalized. Katulad ng mga ChatGPT and AI nowadays that everything sounds to be robotic. Diba? Hindi personalized. So, ito, you can use the first person point of view as you have your review or analysis of the novel assigned to you. Nagkukwento pa rin ako dito. As I also browse comments and positive reviews from book enthusiasts, I realized that the novel I am working with has many literary significance and commendations from numerous books, reviewing entities. So ito, nilista ko siya. I summarize the review below. Based on 31 reviews, the book earned an average score of 90 out of 100 on the review aggregator Metacritic. It has been described as heartbreaking, haunting, and emotionally shattering by critics. It was dubbed McCarthy's Furious Fable yet by the Village Boys. Sabi naman ng author na si Michael Chabon, he praised the book in a New York review of Books post. When it comes to the novel's relationships to established genres, Chabon maintains that The Road is not science fiction, even though the adventure story in both is current and epic forms. Constructs the plot, nakakabulol, ano? Chabon claims that ultimately The Road is better interpreted as a lyrical epic of horror. So yan yun, magbigay kayo ng mga reviews and comments coming from other authors para makita yung significance or value ng material na nire-review nyo. So, marami pang nagbigay. Sino-sino pa? So, you can look for those. Katulad ng ginawa ko dito, I had given more with the spare prose, McCarthy's prose, post-apocalyptic, nakakabilol. Odyssey from 2006 managed to be both harrowing and heartbreaking. McCarthy was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award for Fiction and received the James Tate Black Memorial Prize in Fiction and the Believer Book Award in 2006. The novel won the 2007 Pulitzer Prize for Literature on April 16. It was also nominated for James Tate Black Award. Recently, the novel was ranked 17th on the Guardian's list of the best books of the 21st century in 2019. The Road was named one of the top 100 most popular novels by BBC News in the same year. So, ayan, nakita na natin yung value niya. Literary Significance Awards and Nomination. Ngayon naman, hihimayin natin yung mga character found in the story. So, ito po ay katulad dun sa na-discuss ko on Stylistics and Discourse Analysis, the character analysis. Tingnan natin who are the characters, how they are described, by how they speak or how they act, and what other people think about them. To start with, syempre ang bida ng kwento, the man. Throughout the book, the guy is unidentified. So, yun may biglang mystery kasi hindi pinangalanan. He is the boy's father and he believes God has entrusted him to keep the boy safe and protect him from harm and the evils of the world, even if it means killing him before the bad guys can reach him. To survive, he must drive himself and his son to extremes. The man's bond with his son is sacred. almost spiritual, and he makes great sacrifices in the novel to ensure that his son lives on and has a future in the world that has gone dark. He teaches his son how to hold the flames, first with his assistance and on his own. So now, let's continue. The next character is the boy. Yes, of course. Throughout the book, the boy is unidentified as well. While the man and the boy are on the road, the boy is his father's only source of life. So medyo metaphorical din. Pwede nyo lagyan ng mga literary devices. Similarly, the man is the young man's sole possession. And the boy refuses to leave unless his father is present. The young man is tough and robust, but he is also sensitive and caring. When the man and the boy come across other people in the lane, the boy is more concerned with keeping the two of them safe, while his father is more concerned about keeping the two of them alive. Let's imagine. It is the boy who can persuade the man to be kind to the others on the lane, however reluctantly. Being a decent guy is one of the boy's top goals. He needs to be certain that he and his father are assisting others and holding the flame. While the boy provides the man with his power, the man is unaware of how much the boy worries about him and how much the boy's will to live is dependent on his father. Ngayon, ating i-analyze yung mga minor characters. The first is the woman. She is the man's wife and the boy's mother, and she remains anonymous throughout the story. She abandons the man and the boy when he is still a child, and she is presumed dead. According to the man's flashback, the woman had grown tired of the brutal and barren world in which they lived, and she decided to die alone. She requested permission to take the boy with her, but the man declined. Many of the man's dreams and memories are of the woman, and when he starts having comforting, pleasant dreams about her, he knows death is approaching. Yun yung nanay, di ba? Na pinakilala mo sa kwento a while ago na namatay pagkapanganak nga ba dun sa bata. A man that has struck by lightning, another character. On the way, the man and the boy came across a burned man who was being hit by lightning. They follow him for a while, but he eventually sits down in the middle of the lane and they passed him. The boy wishes to assist, but the man states that they are unable to do so because they do not have anything to give him. The boy weeps for the man who was struck by lightning, a man who epitomizes the sorrow and helplessness that pervades the road. Another character. The truck driver's bad guy. He is the first human being the father has spoken to in over a year. Aside from the child, he is a symbol of what has happened to humanity. The boy's father shoots the bad guy in the head when he grabs the boy. Another, the bad guys, the road agents. The bad guys are the road agents and commune members, and they are the ones the man and the boy fear and must avoid. They rape, murder, and eat other people, as the man and the boy witness many times in the book. So dito, mga, ano na siya, presentation of the antagonist na, di ba? The man and the boy came across a group of road agents who keep a group of women imprisoned in the cellar, each to be slaughtered and eaten as livestock. Another gang of roadies gives birth to a boy, kills it, and cooks it on a spit. In the book, they are the epitome of evil. So, metaphorically na dito, imagine yung mga babies pala or may baby pala na bagong panganak pero inihaw, di ba? Si Ellie. Sino si Ellie? The elderly gentleman whom the man and boy encounter on the lane. The boy feels sorry for him and persuades his father to let Ellie join him for dinner. Ellie does not thank the boy because he claims that he would not have done the same if the case were reversed. The man's real name is not Ellie. He does not want to disclose his identity. So parang mga bansag nickname lang. Then we have the thief. While the man and the boy are out walking on the beach, this thief, an outcast from one of the communes, steals all they own. When the man When boy catch up to him, the man forces him to strip down to his underwear and abandon his clothing. The man wishes to leave the thief with nothing, as the thief left him with nothing. However, the boy weeps for the man, claiming that he is or he has been murdered. Ang dami pa palang characters. So, ayan yung mga characters natin. Ayan, aking ano na, skip ko na yung ibang parts. Ang purpose ko lang naman ay mapakita sa inyo na bawat character ay inilalarawan sa kwento at ano yung mga ginagawa or highlight. So, we have here the man or the one with the shotgun, the youngster, the woman shotgun wielding husband, the little girl. So, how many characters do we have? Malaki or maliit man yung role, as you can see, they are described in the story as part of the character analysis. So, yan din yung gawin yung pattern when you describe the characters. Ngayon naman, how the characters are described. I describe the atmosphere as one of a kind and intriguing. It takes place in the future at an unspecified point in time. The novel takes place after a nuclear holocaust has wiped almost of the world's inhabitants. So, holocaust naman pala, so ibig sabihin mas killing. Okay? As well as much of humanity in all its conveniences. As a result, the novel's two main characters, the father and his son, na hindi na natin nakilala all throughout the novel kasi wala silang pangalan, travel through a nuclear winter in which ash from nuclear waste continuously falls from the sky, turning it gray and slushy. Moreover, it is still raining and freezing. There is hardly any plants, life or clean water left, and most animals and food had vanished. Imagine, paano ka na magta-travel sa isang lugar na wala nang nabubuhay ng mga halaman at hayop, and selected people na lang ang nakasurvive. Tapos, if able to survive, paano pa? Kailangan ninyong maging cannibals, di ba? Humans have become primitive and cannibalistic as means of survival. So the father and the son live in a constant fear of running into these barbaric crowds and wandering from place to place searching for food. Overall, it is a sad situation. So, vividly describe yung setting dito sa kwento. Diretso tayo sa point of view. Ayan, yung point of view, symbolism, and the genre. Okay, so medyo may kahabaan as I also discussed the writing style and language use of the author, and dito mamaya ay magkakaroon tayo ng deeper understanding of the technical analysis. Okay, diretso natin sa point of view. McCarthy wanted to write this novel with an omniscient or all-seeing narrator. If McCarthy had chosen to write it in the third person from the perspective of either the man or the child, I believe we might have a greater understanding of their emotions. For example, we might observe a child's personal reaction to fear and bliss. We may become more attached to a specific character because of this, which McCarthy may not have wanted. So, yun daw pala. This may be because if we concentrate on one person's point of view, we may miss things and may not have an overall view of this activity. So, yun na po siya. Omniscient po ang kanyang point of view, all-knowing. So, hindi siya nagpo-focus sa isang character lamang ang point of view. Changing the narrative perspectives can signify a plot. And I believe that he decided to use an omniscient narrator so that the characters, setting, and events are all equally understood by the readers. This also allows for multiple perspectives, and since the narrator is all-seeing, the readers will not miss something. Furthermore, we are given an impartial account of the story and are not emotionally attached to someone kasi nga po omniscient siya, enabling us to consider McCarthy's larger universe. Sunod naman natin dito, class, pwede natin siyang dugsungan ng symbolism kasi napakadaming metaphorical or literary devices you can also cite in the exact page kung saan ninyo nakita ito. As I read the novel, McCarthy explores ambiguities of morality during survival as a father and son struggle for survival and repeating with the dichotomous symbols of fire and flame, representing hope and creation, ashes as death. He also explores the cyclic death and rebirth of a human condition through theological allusions. In page 191, the man described as sunken haggard walks behind the boy and senses some distance between them. It displays both physical and symbolic difference between them. The boy's forward altruism and the man's suspicious draws diverging biblical comparisons to the New and Old Testament, sympathy and sunken deterioration, respectively, from their dichotomous characteristics. Youthfulness against haggardness to their places, front against the back. These theological resonances indicate that the new gap is a symbolic continuum from the man to the child rather than a polarized disconnection since the Old Testament precedes the New Testament. Similarly, McCarthy depicts a cyclical nature between the father and the son. The man's foreshadowed death ushers in the boy's symbolic Jesus-like rebirth, allowing him to bind with other good guys and eventually continue to bear the flame of future humanity. So, The Road, a novel by McCarthy depicts a world in which humanity has devolved into savagery and desolation. McCarthy explores the ambiguities of morality during survival as the father and son struggle for survival, repeating with the dichotomous symbols of fire and flame, representing hope and passion, ashes and death. So, dito na tayo sa genre. Medyo madami. Mahaba kasi siya. 11 pages ang inabot. Ayan. I-diretso natin. Kasi gusto ko mapakita sa inyo ano yung mga nilalagay when we do the analysis. We're done with symbolism. Tingnan natin yung genre. There are a lot of contention about what specific genre his novel would fall. The Road has been labeled as either science fiction or horror story, but neither suits the book well. It does not help to point out that The Road is a thriller, but it is more tragic than comedy. So, thriller siya. Ang tema ng novela is death, of course, kasi post-apocalyptic siya. Death is the central theme of the novel. In a certain scene, a man dreams of his wife and his life before the universal destruction. He interprets his dreams as the call of death, beckoning him away from the brief reality of his current existence. The other theme for the novel is paternal love. Diba? Parang taman yung dalawa the father to the son. The love for his son fuels the man's eagerness to survive. While the man may expect his own death, he lives to seek life for the boy. As observed from the story, the man always thinks about his son's welfare and makes sure that he has food to eat. Another prominent theme is the presence of good versus evil. Lagi siya, di ba? Pag may mga conflicts. In some scenes, the boy repeatedly asks his father for proof that the two of them are the nice guys and that the bad guys are those who want to harm them, such as thieves, killers, and the cannibals. The issue of trust is also exemplified in the novel. Though he often seeks reassurance, the boy is often aware that his father may not always be honest about their chances of survival. On page 86, okay, I might, but we are not dying. The father responds to the boy's admission that he believes his father might lie to him about dying. In this book, religious faith and religious doubt play an important role as well. The child was his warrant, the father says at times referring to his stern result to ensure his son's survival. In other cases, however, the man expresses skepticism about the presence of higher force, or at the very least doubts it. He simply knelt in the ashes after that. He looked out of the window at the dreary day. Is it true that you are there? He asked quietly. You'll be able to see you are at the very end. So yun, survival and resilience frequently involve one's creative attempts to survive. Ayan na po. And McCarthy focuses on extreme action, needed in such situations, such as marauders or cannibals. Behavior that may seem insane in any sense that one in which people feel compelled to sacrifice the most fundamental core values to survive. Ayan na po tayo. Tapos na tayo sa team. Napakadaming team na na-mention dito sa novel. Napaka-prominent. So ano pa? Ano yung writing style and language use? I-include po natin ito sa analysis since we focus on stylistics and discourse analysis. So what would be the writing style and the language usage of the author? On the first page of Cormac McCarthy's The Road, I was struck by his unique, if not the disruptive writing style, sentences with a variety of structures. Ayan po yung sample. Sometimes it's blunt, may mga run-on, scattered. Meron ding mga apostrophes were missing from the contraction, and quotation marks were entirely removed from all the dialogue. So wala daw quotation mark. As seen in the following study, some dialogue was intertwined inside explaining action and narrative paragraphs. So yung style niya. His punctuation, for example, is noticeably lacking. Hindi mahilig mag-punctuate si McCarthy. Ganyan din yung gagamitin ninyo when you analyze ano bang style ng author na napili ninyo. McCarthy does not use apostrophes to signify contractions, so observation taken din sa novel as eyebrows. And he does not use quotation marks to distinguish dialogue from exposition. In this post-apocalyptic setting, writing conventions are largely irrelevant. Furthermore, dialogue is typically separated from exposition by a new indented line. So, nag-indention na lang siya instead of writing quotation mark. Although some dialogue does sometimes run into the exposition. Sometimes daw dire-diretso. Consider the following scenario. I notice on page 9. Ito yung sample natin, ha? Ganito yung gagawin nyo as you analyze. In the dim light, he looked like an old world thespian, his face streaked with black from the rain. It is possible for me to ask you a question, he queried. So, yun na. Sample natin, medyo may kahabaan. Kapagod pa lang magbigay ng sample para ma-review ninyo. Kasi we're done on, naka-8 page na pala tayo. Siya, sige. Ngayon naman, technical analysis. Ito yung gagayahin niyo sample pag re-review niyo ng novel. Okay, yung una ko napansin, nilagyan ko siya ng technique. Not using quotation marks during dialogue. Dito sa instance, maglalagay kayo ng line or passage from the novel, tapos indicate niyo yung page para talagang you do the analysis. Cormac McCarthy employs a methodology that I have never seen before. So, lagyan niyo na explanation. The use of quotation marks, in my view, clarifies the dialogue, which works in this case because the two main characters are both direct and do not say anything nonsense. They get right to the point and do not waste time. This is a tactic that I believe does not fit as well in other novels. But this is not this does it in one since there are only two characters. Ayan, mostly. Kasi edit natin tong isa. Yun, na first review ko na siya. Hindi pala siya mahilig mag-quotation mark. Ito namang isa, ay, Diyos ko po, ang haba. Technique, use of flashback. Paano ko nasabi na gumagamit ng flashback ito si Cormick? Ayan. Sinunson ko siyang isa-isa doon sa novel. Nag-sample ako ng paragraphs in pages 12 to 13. Mahilig ba mag-flashback yung mga author na napili nyo? So, paki-include. There are several flashbacks sprinkled in the novel. This provides background for the readers, allowing them to comprehend the material better. It can also keep readers interested because they spent the previous pages wondering what had happened. And so on. Another technique is the lack of names, vagueness, and characters. So, have you encountered books ba? Hindi pinakilala ang tunay na pangalan ng tauhan. Always saying the father, the son, the father, the son, the father, the son. A technique. It's in the entire book. Parang anonymous, everybody can relate. Now that I am in the second portion of the novel, I am beginning to note that the novels lack of details, but main characters are still unidentified, and I expect this to continue for the rest of the novel. This, I think, gives the reader a sense of dread that this might happen to anyone. O yun, parang sense of relatability. Another presence of imagery which you have discussed as well when you are having the prelims midterms, di ba, class? Presence of imagery technique, the boy's face slipping in the orange light. The sunken sheet streaked with black, page 96 naman. So, yun yung mga sample of imagery. The simple sentence in the book conjures up the mental picture of the reader, creating a sense of sadness in them and making them feel sorry for themselves. So, sunsunin, hanapin, i-underline, ano-ano yung mga imagery na nakita niyo dun sa binabasa niyong novel. Another technique, imagery and repetition. Mahilig bang mag-ulit yung author? He sat by a gray window in the gray light on page 58. The use of word gray many times in the sentence conjures up a picture in the reader's mind. This makes the reader sad for the father, in my opinion. The word gray is repeated many times, giving the impression that the man's life has become bland and colorless. Ayan, another technique ng author, unknown time and vagueness. Ayan, sinabi yung mga kapanahunan or setting. May setting sinabi, describe, pero hindi inano yung specific details, diba? It adds a sense of possibility while the readers on the second portion of the book and still has no idea what time the novel is set in. There is a feeling that it could happen in any moment. So, sense of relatability as well. Another. Ayan na nga po yung mga technique pinakita ko sa inyo, yung mga figures of speech. Susunsunin nyo siya kung paano siya nag-appear dun sa actual text na binabasa niyo. Technique simile. Marching like wind up toys. Paki-include yung page. Tapos explanation, bakit siya simile. Another technique is the onomatopoeia. Wash page 137. How the sound is described. Hindi ko na siya isa-isang basahin kasi medyo may karamihan at kahabaan. Then we have the technique, the metaphor, the boy. So the boy, he wished himself as an alien, page 153. It's an indirect analogy. The boy describe, na parang wish himself an alien. Parang alien lang daw sana. Another technique, description. Hiccup until his chest was raw, page 175. It makes the reader feel sorry for the guy and realize how sick he is. Another is the allusion. There is no prophet in the earth's non-chronological, page 277. Another technique, emotion through dialogue. What's the bravest thing you ever did? Getting up this morning, page 272. Then explanation. We also have reflection, Cormac McCarthy's novel. Ayan na, reflection na. Almost done sa ating review. Cormac McCarthy's novel, The Road, really deserved the Pulitzer Prize in 2007. Aside from the vivid imagination, para ika-close nyo na yung deal. The story is packed with some of the most heinous actions human beings have ever committed. I highly recommend this novel. So, gano'n nyo siya ika-close? Sabihin niyo, worth reviewing, worth watching, worth something ba yung novel na na-assign? And why? Explain. And the greatest thing I love about the story is the values it gave readers. It shows a connection between the father and the son, and not even the words near destruction can break. I heard this novel as a film adaptation. I will be excited to watch the movie version of and I compare it to the actual novel. So, pwede naging yun ang mga ganyan eksena. And of course, dahil nga naggawa ako ng mga analysis, reviews, research, specifically sa mga review ng value ng literature, so on and so forth. Ayan yung mga references na ginamit ko, and it's very important that you, after nyo mag-review or reflection, include the references para maiwasan ang plagiarism cases when you do the review. Ayan, natapos na ang 11-page sample ng ating analysis of contemporary British and American literature entitled The Road by Cormac McCarthy. So, ayan, i-browse ko ulit yung parts, the author, Tignan natin. Title, the author, the novel, author's inspiration, summary, literary significance, awards and nominations, character analysis, setting, point of view, symbolism, genre, theme of the novel, writing style, language use, technical analysis, the reflection, and the references. So with that, thank you so much. Hopefully you could create your own analysis of the novel assigned to you. And you can also follow the template I had given. So with that, thank you so much and enjoy learning.